Hi everyone, today I will be doing a presentation on the California Dream Act 101. So basically this presentation will go over just general information for the California Dream Act application and what financially you can receive once you do your California Dream Act application. Okay, and we're going to start off with the cost of attendance. So we're going to look at the cost of attendance from San Joaquin Delta College. So we have the different categories, which is enrollment fees, books and supplies, room and board, miscellaneous, and transportation. So if the student is living with their parent, their total cost of attendance will be about $15,769. And if the student is living off campus, their total cost of attendance will be about $24,427. Important note is that tuition and fees are subject to change depending on the institution. So if you decide to go to another two-year college like Delta, they'll probably have a different type of cost of attendance. Okay, and here we're going to look at a four-year university, which is Cal State Stanislaus. A lot of our students here at Delta, once they're done with their two-year associate's degree, they transfer to a four-year university, and Cal State Stanislaus is the closest one to us. So here we have the different categories for the cost of attendance, which is tuition fees, books and supplies, room and board, miscellaneous, and transportation. So if the student is living with their parent, their total cost of attendance will be about $19,660. If the student is living on campus, so the cool thing about these four-year universities is that they have the option where the student can dorm at the university. So if they choose that, the total cost of attendance will be about $23,578. And if the student is living off campus, their total cost of attendance will be about $28,160. Again, tuition and fees are subject to change depending on the Cal State that you decide to go to. Okay, and lastly, we're going to look at UC Davis, so another four-year university, and we have the different categories for the cost of attendance, which is tuition fees, books and supplies, room and board, miscellaneous, transportation, and the health insurance, which is optional. So if the student decides to dorm on campus, the total cost of attendance will be about $37,126. If the student is living off campus, the total cost of attendance will be about $32,645. And if the student is living with their parent, total cost of attendance will be about $29,605. Again, tuition and fees are subject to change depending on what the student decides to go to. But we like to illustrate the cost of attendance comparing a four-year university to a two-year college, just to show students and their parents that if the cost of attendance of these four universities scare you or worry you, students can always start at a two-year college and then from there, like Delta, and then from there transfer to a four-year university. Also, students can apply to receive financial aid. And with that financial aid, a lot of students, sometimes they don't have to pay for the total cost of their cost of attendance. So with that being said, we're going to look at the type of financial aid students can receive if they decide to go to San Joaquin Delta College and they're applying for the California Dream Act application. So the California Dream Act application opens October 1st and has a priority deadline of March 2nd. And this California Dream Act application is for undocumented or AB 540 students. So if you meet those requirements, you can definitely apply for the California Dream Act and receive financial aid. So if you're going to San Joaquin Delta College and you apply for the California Dream Act, you can receive financial aid from the state of California. So you can be eligible for Cal Grant B for up to $1,648 or $6,000 if you have dependents, or Cal Grant C for up to $1,094 or $4,000 if you have dependents. Also have the Student Success Completion Grant, which students can receive up to $4,000. The California College Promise Grant, this one works as a fee waiver grant actually. Instead of the student actually receiving money back each semester, whatever classes they're taking for each semester will be waived by the California College Promise Grant. So this is really helpful for students that are attending a community college like San Joaquin Delta College. Then lastly, we have the Chafee Grant, which is for foster youth that students can receive up to $6,000. Like I said, we have that California College Promise Grant, which works as a fee waiver grant, and that one's based on the student's income and their family's income. But we also have the AB 19 grant, which also works as a fee waiver grant. So this one is based off the following requirements. So students must be in their first 2 years of college here at Delta. Students must be enrolled in 12 or more units per semester. Students must complete a FAFSA California Dream Act application for each academic year. And students must not be receiving any other fee waivers such as the California College Promise Grant grant. And lastly, they must be a California resident or an AB 540 student. So if the student meets all these requirements, they can receive the AB 19 grant, and they won't have to pay for their classes for their 2 years while they're at Delta. So super, super important. And then here we're going to go over the Student Success Completion Grant and how students can receive this grant. So this is for full-time students. So if a student is enrolled in 12 or 14.5 units per semester, currently receiving Cal Grant B or C, and is maintaining satisfactory academic progress, the student can receive up to $649 per semester. The student is enrolled in 15 or more units per semester, currently receiving Cal Grant B or C, and is maintaining satisfactory academic progress, student can receive up to $2,000 per semester. So if you're full-time and you meet these requirements, you can definitely receive this Student Success Completion Grant. And then for satisfactory academic progress, I'll go more into detail later on in the presentation, but basically what it means is that you as a student, you're doing well in your classes, you're passing the classes that you're taking, you're not dropping them, and you're not failing them. So if you're doing well academically, you can continue to receive financial aid. Okay, and then here we're gonna basically look at this list that shows how much financial aid you can receive depending on how many units you're taking per semester. So if we see here, 12 units makes a student full-time. So if you're a student and you're taking 12 units per semester, which is about 4 classes, you can receive Cal Grant B or C, Student Success Completion Grant, and the fee waiver grant, whether it be the California College Promise Grant or the AB 19 grant. And in total, you'll receive up to $3,498 for the academic year. And that money can be used to, waive your classes, pay for books and supplies, transportation, just anything to help you be successful in school. But if we see that you're only taking 1 class per semester, which is about 3 units, you'll only really be eligible to receive the fee waiver grant, whether it be the California College Promise Grant or the AB 19 grant. So your classes will be paid off by, but your books, supplies, and all that, you're going to have to pay out of pocket out of that. So it's really, really important that you as a student, you see how many classes you're taking so you can basically see how much financial aid you can receive for those classes. So the less classes you take, the less financial aid you receive. Really important too is that this is a partial list of awards. There are more programs that students can receive financial aid from, like loans, work study, and scholarships. Okay, then here we're going to go over the type of financial aid students can receive if they decide to go to a Cal State, a 4-year university. A lot of our students here at Delta, once they're done, they transfer to one of the Cal States, like Cal State Stanislaus, Cal State Sacramento, or Cal State Chico. But there's a lot of other Cal States throughout California. So again, they're going to have to do the California Dream Act application, which opens October 1st and has that March 2nd priority deadline. And again, it's for undocumented or AB 540 students. So if you're eligible, you can receive financial aid from the state of California. So if you're eligible, you can receive Cal Grant A for up to $5,742 or $6,000 if you have children, dependents, or Cal Grant B for up to $1,648 or $4,000 if you have dependents, children. The Chafee Grant, which is for foster youth, for up to $6,000. The Educational Opportunity Program for up to $800. And then the Cal States also have their own grants and scholarships that you can be eligible for. So like the Middle Class Scholarship and also the State University Grant Program. So this program, students can receive up to $5,742, and it's for students that have an expected family contribution that is less than $5,500 and are not receiving the Cal Grant. So really important is that this expected family contribution is basically a number that a lot of universities here in California and universities all over the United States use to determine how much financial aid you can receive. And this number comes from the information that you put on your California Dream Act application. Okay, and then here we're going to go look at the type of financial aid you can receive if you decide to attend a UC, so another 4-year university like UC Davis, UC Berkeley, UC Santa Cruz, and etc. So again, do your California Dream Act application if you're an undocumented or AB 540 student. If you're eligible, you can receive financial aid from the state of California, and you can be eligible for Cal Grant A for up to $12,570, Cal Grant B for up to $1,648, the Chafee Grant, which is for foster youth, for up to $6,000, and the Educational Opportunity Program for up to $800. And then the UCs also have their own grants and scholarships that you can be eligible for when you apply for the California Dream Act, like the Middle Class Scholarship and then the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. So this Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan is really helpful because it actually ensures that you will not have to pay for UC statewide tuition and fees out of your own pocket if you're a California resident whose total family income is less than $80,000 a year and you qualify for financial aid. So if you meet those requirements, you won't have to pay for the tuition and fees that come from being a UC student, which is super helpful. Okay, and then here we're gonna go over where you can receive the Cal Grant depending on what institution, what college or university you decide to go to. So if you are deciding to go to Delta, which is a 2-year college, you can receive Cal Grant B and Cal Grant C. If you decide to go to a Cal State or a UC, you can receive Cal Grant A and Cal Grant B. So just giving you an idea of what Cal Grants you can receive. Really important too for students that are going to community college, like San Joaquin Delta College. A lot of our students decide to not use their Cal Grant while they're at community college because they really don't need to use it. Most students, they rather use it at a 4-year university because it's far more expensive than a 2-year college. So you are eligible to hold your Cal Grant for once you transfer to a 4-year university. So you can hold it by making a account with web grants. So I'll go over that later on in the presentation. And then here, I'm just going to show you guys how you can qualify for the Cal Grants. So obviously, you're going to have to apply to the California Dream Act application. But for Cal Grant A, you do have to have a GPA minimum of a 3.0. And then you have to either be working on your associates and then transfer to a 4-year university, or be working at a 4-year university getting your bachelor's degree. And then the Cal Grant covers up to 4 years of tuition and fees. And if you have children or dependents, you can receive up to $6,000 for Cal Grant A. Then for Cal Grant B, there is a GPA requirement of a 2.0 or higher. And then the degree requirement is that to receive it, you have to be in college for a minimum at least a 1-year program. So it can be a certificate, associate's, or bachelor's degree, and it covers for 2 to 4 years for tuition and fees, and you'll receive $1,648 for all 4 years, or $4,000 if you have dependents. Then lastly, we're going to look at Cal Grant C. So Cal Grant C has no GPA requirements. And then for the degree requirement, the program has to be at least 4 months in length. It can be an occupational or technical program. And then the Cal Grant C covers up to $1,094. And this is like for books and supplies. And also there's a special consideration for priority occupations. Okay, so on top of applying for the California Dream Act, students can also apply for scholarships. So here at Delta, we do have the Delta College Scholarships that opens every year on January 1st and has a deadline of March 2nd. So if you're deciding to go to Delta, I urge you to please look into the scholarship. It's really easy to apply, and there's a lot of scholarships on that portal. So the first thing you're gonna have to do is make your account through our scholarship portal. And then after you register your account, you can apply for the scholarships that we have on there. So you're going to have to complete the online scholarship application, have 2 letters of recommendation, and a brief essay. So once you do all that, you can be eligible for the scholarships that we have on that portal. And then also we have a long list of outside scholarships that students can apply for. So depending if they're eligible, you can check all the outside scholarships that we have, and then see which ones you apply to you, and you can definitely apply to them and see if you receive, if you can receive more money for your classes. And then here I'm just going to go over the California Dream Act eligibility. So For students that want to qualify to be AB 540 students, basically these are the requirements. So you have to have graduated from a California high school or equivalent, enrolled in an accredited California college or university, have 3 or more years of full-time high school coursework in a combination of elementary, middle school, or high school in California in a combined total of 3 or more years. And for students that don't have lawful immigration status, they just have to show that they're in the process of getting that lawful immigration status. Okay, so for the California Dream Act, there is the selective service requirement. So this is for males that are 18 to 25 that have to register for the selective service for the Cal Grant and other state aid. So you don't need a social security number to register, and the selective service does not share your data or information. So to register, if you're from 18 to 25 and you're a male, you're gonna have to log into www.ss.gov and download the brief registration form. And then from there, take the form to the US Post Office or mail to the address on the form. And then once you do that, you'll be registered for the selective service. You'll receive basically a confirmation once you're registered. And then safety when applying. So we always like to talk about safety when applying, especially for undocumented students or AB 540 students. So if you're ever having second thoughts about applying due to sharing your information with the California Dream Act, just know that when you're applying for the California Dream Act, all your information only goes to the state of California and it will not be used against you in any way. So we always urge students to please apply for the California Dream Act. It's gonna help you just get your higher education. It won't hurt you in any way. So please complete the California Dream Act if you are undocumented, have a valid or expired DACA, are U visa holders, or have temporary protected status, TPS. Okay, so the application process. So to start the California Dream Act application, you're going to have to visit the website, which is dream.csac.ca.gov. Once you visit the website, you'll basically see, the first page, which you can log in as a first-time user, or returning user, or provide parent signature. And then the items you'll need when applying. So you'll need your driver's license, if you have one, an alien registration number or ITIN or social security number, if it's applicable, students' 2020 income information, such as W-2s, if applicable, or parents' 2020 income information, such as W-2s, if the student is a dependent, students' 2020 taxes or parents' 2020 tax information, and any records of untaxed income, such as welfare benefits, social security benefits, or child support payments. Okay, so here we're going to go over starting the application for the California Dream Act. So reminder is that the 2022 to 2023 California Dream Act application opened October 1st. So if you're going to be in college for that academic year and you're undocumented or AB 540 or you have DACA standing, I urge you to please apply for the California Dream Act. And right now we're going to go over what the application looks like. So here it's going to tell you welcome. You're going to want to start right here. It says 2021 and 2022, but it's going to be for students applying for 2022 to 2023. So you're just going to click on there. And then here it's going to start with the application. So the first thing it's going to ask for the student's information. So here it's going to ask for the demographics, which is your last name, first name, middle initial. If you have a social security number or an ITIN. If you don't, you can just put zeros on there and then your date of birth. And then here it's going to ask for your mailing address. So the city, the state, and the zip code, and then your email address. And then here it's going to ask for the school selection. So what college you're going to apply to. So you can search the college by name. So if you're going to San Joaquin Delta College, you can just put San Joaquin Delta College, or you can search it by using the college school code. So here at San Joaquin Delta College, our school code is 001280. But depending on what universities or colleges you're going to apply to, you can just search it up by the name and you'll get a list of colleges, and the one that you're applying to, you'll just click on it and add it. Okay, and then here it's gonna ask for the parent information. So this is where you're gonna put your parent's marital status. So it's gonna ask if you're a dependent student. If you're an independent student, then you won't have to put in your parents' information. But if you're a dependent student, which means that you depend on your parent or legal guardian, you're gonna have to put in their information. So here it's gonna start with their marital status, and then if they're married, the year, basically the month and the year that they're married. And then here it's going to ask for your parents' whole household info. So here it's going to ask how many people live in your parents' household. So if you have other siblings, you're going to put the number here. Or if you have more than siblings that are living in your parents' household, like aunt or a grandma, and they're receiving more than 50% of their financial support from your parents, then you'll put the number here. And then on top of that, it's also going to ask for your parent and your also you as a student, it's going to ask for your tax information. So that's where you're going to also put in your tax information on the application. But lastly, the last step is the sign and submit. So here it's going to ask you to read before proceeding and then put your signature and then put submit. And then it's going to give you the confirmation that you've signed it as a student, but you're also going to use your parent's signature. And this is only for dependent students. If you're an independent student, then you won't need your parent's signature. But here it's going to ask you for your parent's signature. So you're going to press on that little button. And then once you do that, it'll basically ask your parent to put in your information as a student. So your first name, last name, and then the year that you're applying. And then from there, it's going to give your parent a PIN. And then with that PIN, you can actually sign sign the application as the parent. And then from there, you'll be completed with your California Dream Act application. So really important too is, so once you apply and you're deciding to go to San Joaquin Delta College, obviously to receive financial aid, you have to apply for the California Dream Act. And then from there, Delta will receive your application. And then from there, you'll get a notice to log in email. So this notice to log in email is for you to log into your My Delta portal so you can see the updates on financial aid. And then depending on what information we got from your California Dream Act, you can either already receive your financial aid package and you're going to have to accept the terms of offer and accept the financial aid that you'll receive for the academic year, or you're going to be asked to upload documents. So if you're asked to upload documents, you're going to have to go on your My Delta portal and click on the link where you can upload your documents. And then once you do that and everything is verified, then you'll receive your financial aid package and you'll have to accept the terms of offer and then you'll receive financial aid. Also really important is that students receive emails of award or disbursement information. So on top of it being on your My Delta portal, you'll also receive emails on any updates on your financial aid. So if you are receiving financial aid, you're going to have to go through the bank mobile process. So, sorry about that. In the mail, you'll receive a green envelope and it looks like junk mail, so don't throw it away, but it's going to be it's going to be from Bank Mobile. So in that green envelope, you'll have an access code where you can log into their website and use that access code to retrieve your account. And then from there, it's going to basically make you choose how you want to receive your payments of financial aid. So whether it be transfer funds to current checking account or open up an account with Bank Mobile. So if you decide to open an account with Bank Mobile, there'll be a Visa card in that green envelope. So it's really, really important that once you know that you do your California Dream Act and you're receiving updates on your financial aid, that you look in the mail for that green envelope so you can receive your money through Bank Mobile. Okay, so how to view your tasks. So your tasks are on your My Delta portal. So this is for students that have to upload documents to our Office of Financial Aid or have to accept their terms of offer so they can receive their financial aid. So there'll be one of the following tasks on your My Delta portal. They will have these statuses. So initiated means that the task requires your attention and you're gonna have to click on the task to see what you need to complete. And then received means basically means that you've submitted the required documents and financial aid is reviewing it. Okay, so uploading documents. So sometimes students are chosen for verification and they have to upload more documents to our Office of Financial Aid just so we can verify their information. So you're going to, so if that happens to be you, you're going to have to upload your documents to your My Delta portal. And the link, there'll be a link for accessing the upload portal, and it will show up on your to-do list through your My Delta portal. Or you can just click on the link, which is deltacollege.verifymyfastfile.com. Okay, so here, like I said, one of the requirements to receive the Student Success Completion Grant was to meet Satisfactory Academic Progress, which is SAP. So this is really important. This is what we use to see if students can continue to be eligible to receive financial aid. So students must maintain SAP in order to continue eligibility for financial aid. So students must maintain a 2.0 cumulative GPA. Students must complete 67% of the enrolled units that they're in, either cumulatively or for the semester. So here we have an example. So let's say we have a student taking 2 3-unit classes. That student will have to pass all of their classes to be meeting SAP. If they don't pass one of those classes, right there, they're already going to be in warning status for SAP. So it's really, really important that you as a student, you know how many classes you're taking, and that you're completing that 67% of the enrolled units for each semester and also cumulatively. And then lastly, must not be exceeding the maximum time frame, which is PACE. So students have up to 150% of units to complete their program. So for associate's degree, it takes about 60 units to complete an associate's degree, but because we give that 100%, 150% of units, students have up to 90 units to complete their associate's degree. So if you go over that 90 units, you'll be automatically disqualified for SAP because you're already exceeding the time frame for the associate's degree. And the same goes for a certificate. Certificates usually take 20 units to complete. But because of that 150% unit that we, 100% units threshold that we give students up to 30 units to complete their certificate. Okay, so just more reasons to apply for the California Dream Act. So right now, the California Dream Act has this California Dream Act Service Incentive Program, grant program. So basically what it is that the California Dream Act Service Incentive Grant Program encourages California Dream Act application students with the Cal Grant, if they're receiving Cal Grant B award, to perform community service. And if they perform community service, they can receive up to $3,000 for the academic year. So if you apply for the California Dream Act and you're eligible for Cal Grant B, you can perform community service and receive an extra $3,000 for the academic year. So that's super, super important. And basically, students that can be eligible is that students have to perform at least 150 hours per semester for community service, or 100 hours per quarter. And if you decide to do that, you just have to visit the California Dream Act website and fill out the form. And then once you fill out the form, you can either email it to them through student support at csac.ca.gov, or you can mail it to them through the California Student Aid Commission, and then their address. And then to get more information, you can visit this website right here, which is www.csac.ca.gov/DSIG. Okay, so that's basically it for the presentation. So if students have any questions or want to talk to anybody with financial aid, you can use live chat through Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we also have a virtual appointment counter where students can schedule an appointment using our virtual help counters, whether it be answering any general financial aid questions, or if you need help filling out your FAFSA or California Dream Act application. And then here are the different ways that students can contact us. So you can contact us using the Delta College homepage to use live chat, our phone number, our email, and then we also do have in-person assistance. So at the Delta Connect Center in the Dorico building, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., we do have financial aid people there answering questions for students, and we do have virtual assistance at the Delta Connect Center, but it's virtually Wednesday and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But yeah, that's it for our presentation. I know that was a lot of information, but hopefully it was useful for everyone. Thank you.